Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Presentation Hell. Today, we're podcasting from Embark Studios here in Tampa, Florida. Today, we have the pleasure of Joe Steilberg and Parker Klein. Hi, guys. Welcome here.
Hi, James. How's it going?
You guys have a startup called Twos.
Yes, we do.
Twos. Like twos.
Like twos.
Twos. Not twos. Twos.
Tis.
So take a minute. Yeah, take a minute. Tell us what Twos is and why it's important and what we're going to be talking about today.
I mean, I think that our thesis for as long as we've been cooking has been that we just want to build the best place for people to write things down. So very simply put, people have over 60,000 unique thoughts per day, whether it be something they need to do or a reminder or an event. And so we just want to give people the quickest, easiest, most organized way to capture those individual pieces of their lives so that you can just live a more calm, connected, and memorable life.
How do you do this?
I'll let Parker, our technical liaison,
Parker, rip it up. Tell the crowd. How do you, I've got 1,000 things in my mind going on. 60,000 might be light, by the way. And I'm going to take 15% of them and not share them with anyone. However, but I've got a lot of things that I like to do. I jot down notes. I remember when I get up, I do certain things. After I shower, I do things. When I do work, but there's all these things that aren't in my regular day that I need to get done. Mm-hmm. Is this something you help with? How do you do this?
Yes. Quick capture of these things.
How do you quick capture them?
On your phone.
On your phone. So I have to write this shit down?
It's all about writing things down.
Okay, go on. Continue.
Writing things down helps you organize.
So hang on. Let's just step back. Twos is an app that you can get where?
Anywhere.
Anywhere. App Store, Samsung,
okay.
Google Play Store.
So this
Chrome extension.
So fundamentally, Twos is an app that helps people do what you're about to say.
Write things down, remember things, share things. Yes. And on your computer as well. Maybe you have a computer, you're sitting at your desk, you can write it down like that.
So let's step back to the nuts and bolts of your product. Mm-hmm. I hear what you're saying, and you're like 3 steps ahead of our crowd at this point, and I appreciate it.
Hey, you asked the question, why are we writing it down? I'm telling you why we're writing it down.
But here's I want the practicality of the app. I want to know that I am an average person who has 20 things going on all the time, and I'm a little harried. How does this help me? Where is it the app? Why don't I just look at my calendar for this? Why don't I just use my notepad or look at my email? Why Twos?
Absolutely.
Your calendar is not as organized as Twos is because not everything is an event, right? Some things
in some lives,
some are just ideas that you might not want to work on today. What Twos gives you is a day, which is a place to write things down.
Okay.
So
you go by days. So there is calendar functionality, kind of.
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So I was at the core.
It integrates with your calendar, Google Calendar, Apple Calendar. So you can see your events. You can join your Google Meets or your Zooms from your day. But it gives you a day similar to a notebook where you write today's date and then start listing off the things that you need to do.
So it'll pull the things out of your calendar. It'll pull the notes out of your notepad. It'll get notes out of your email, things you committed to or whatever.
Will allow you to make lists for your calendar events. And really at its core, the thing that we've all been saying, under our breath, but it is much more deserving of a emphasis is quite literally this technology that we refer to as things. Each individual piece of information that you write down, which allows you to change your things into to-dos, notes, events, reminders, move things, reorder things, share things, select things.
So if I'm going to break this down, you took my day and made it a list of things.
Exactly.
These things come from different, they're a Zoom meeting, they're baked cookies, they're pick up the kids, I got to, wash behind my ears because I forgot, whatever it might be. And you aggregate them into a very easy tool that allows people to live by their things.
Exactly. The best compliment that we get is works like my brain does.
Oh, that's great.
And I think that is exactly what we're going for, is that people's brains don't segment their day and their lives into these, silos.
This is my calendar.
This is my calendar moment.
Again, we're going to the calendar again.
This is my notebook moment. This is my reminder moment.
Thing. It's not your moment. It's a thing.
It's a thing. These are just things that we think of. And so we're just giving you the quickest, easiest place to write things down.
Okay. Now, we've been talking about it, and to me, it feels a little esoteric still. It still seems like in like ideas and thoughts. And I know this is working, and I know a lot of people who really like your app and find it something they rely on a daily basis. If you were going to tell a 10-year-old, how would you tell them this works to a 10-year-old now?
How does it work?
What is it to a 10-year-old, not to us smart people that have studied too much in life?
It's a place to put things that are important to you, like your best friend's favorite color, so that you'll be able to remember that forever.
Next time that's great. It's like my memory.
It's your memory.
My memory's a bunch of things.
A lot of people refer to it as a second brain. That's kind of a techie nerd term. We wouldn't say that to a 10-year-old.
The first thing that I was going to say when you brought up is it's like your smart notebook.
Your smart notebook. Okay.
Everything that you would want to write in your notebook, you start a new page with the date at the top, and whatever it is that comes out through your day, whether it be your agenda or your notes or just random thoughts. Okay. Paper is there for you in a quick and easy way. We are just trying to digitize, which is probably a word that a 10-year-old wouldn't be particularly fond of. We are trying
They live in a digitized world.
That's true. That's true.
They probably know it better than us, by the way.
We're trying to TikTokify your notebook.
You're going to take me down with that one.
We are the hype house of tech startups.
Okay, so you've got it. You're a bunch of things. You're on a calendar. These are the things I have to do today. These are the things I'm doing next week. These are the things I'm doing next month. How did this come about? Like, what failure happened in your life that caused you to say, I got to do these things? Like, what things did you miss that made this so important that you dedicated your whole business and your life to it?
Yeah, it's a great question.
I think
Why do you always divert to him when I'm talking to you?
I'm just trying to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of love.
Go ahead.
We practice this. We're here.
I'll partially answer, and then he's going to pick it up. I think that we've actually learned a lot from our parents. We've listened to our parents throughout our lives say, I need to write that down. I wish I had written that down. I need to remember that. These moments of we have things to remember. And I know one for Joe is that his mom used to not pick him up from school. She would just forget. You know, she has a lot of things going on in her life. Maybe Joe doesn't get it right home.
Well, no, I mean,
I was going to say nowadays that doesn't really it doesn't lead you to keeping your kids. Well, go ahead. Sorry, different issue. Sorry.
And the good news is now we have Uber, we have
Lyft.
I was loved. I was very loved. People love me.
Mom, she loved him.
I didn't realize that this was a crying podcast. But no, what's amazing is that exactly like Parker said, my mom is a very successful residential real estate agent. So, 3 p.m. will come around, 4 p.m. will come around.
She's running around.
She's showing houses, doing the things, right? And so she
needed things. She needed twos.
She needed a way to look at her day, plan around the pickup schedule, and remember to pick up her son. Now, the lucky news for me is that in the nature of the fact that she did forget to pick me up from school somewhat frequently, I would use my gift of gab to get rides home from my friends in the neighborhood, which then led me on to be the phenomenal salesman that I once was. People forget. Sold 33 cars in a summer for a Honda dealership when I was 18.
Nice.
And I still think about that, very fondly related to having to ask people to drive me home.
I think that's more foundational in your personality that led to founding a company. But it's also foundational in your because it's kind of ironic that the component how should I say this? Because your mother didn't pick you up, you took the parental role of organizing the day so that your mother knew what she needed to do to take care of you. Is that the core of Freud's coming out here, guys. Is that the core of your motivation?
Really, it's more so that my mom is a lot like me, that we just don't have the ability of using these antiquated systems to organize our lives. And
so you're saying you're going to be so neurotically motivated, you're going to forget to pick up Parker over here when he's out at the convention you were at. He's got the whole booth, and you're already having drinks afterwards. Oh, Parker, sorry, call my mom.
No, if not for twos, genuinely, if not for twos, I would have no idea where I am. I would not be in this chair right now by any means. Because I would have written it down as a reminder or a calendar event or in my notebook. It just doesn't make sense.
Just a note. It's a reminder. Look at his shirt. It's a string on his finger. There's twos. and the string is the reminder, and the reminder is of a thing that you have to do today, and that thing is done on a calendar today, this week, this month, this year, this lifetime.
That's something that not a lot of people know about, actually, is the string around the finger. People ask us pretty frequently what the string around the finger is for, and exactly like you emphasized, before the age of the internet, and even when,
he's dating me
in the age
not
of the
personally,
internet,
but as in a chronological dating.
Hey,
my third wheel.
Long story.
What the hell are you doing here?
Dating him? Do we need a candlelit, dinner? Anyway,
We got the fire.
long story. We do. Long story short, people would tie strings around their fingers to remember to go pick up things from the grocery store or the appointment that they had, because they would always look down at their hand. They would see the string around their finger and they would go, "Oh, I remember that."
I agree with that.
Isn't that
I
awesome?
used to take Post-it notes and put it on the door as I go out the night before. So if I got to the door and I'm like, oh, pick up my, whatever it is, baseball bat or whatever I need to get for the kids or whatever, it's at, got to get it, and I'll move it out.
You want to hear a crazy statistic?
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
People forget 70% of the new things they think of every single day.
See, you have to be around neurotic people who don't forget about it, and they obsess on those things, and they start building it, and they never let a day go by without focusing on it. And by the time that's done,
And
they
put
end up
Post-its on their.
They end up a company at Embark is what happens. This type of neuroses drills and drives. You've got it as well. You're going right towards something, and if you didn't have it, you wouldn't be sitting here. You wouldn't have a dream going that way and wanting to fix something that's broken that no one else gives a shit
Well,
about.
I feel like a lot of people are like that. A lot of people
people are
this,
lazy. They suck.
Right? But they have this neurotic expectation to be on top of the ball.
Well, the problem is people think about something, and because they think about it, they think they did it. They think they were right, and they go the next day, and they didn't realize they didn't even try it. And it's a problem. I'm going to go on a little rant here. It's a problem with our educational system right now, and the educational elite of the country likes to sit down and intellectualize a process. Oh, people are going to get up and go buy this. And when they buy this, they're going to be hungry. And when they're hungry, they're going to go buy that. And when they go buy that, they're going to be in a different place, and they're going to like the sunset. And when they like the sunset, they're going to buy sunglasses. And when they buy sunglasses, they're going to have eye problems. And then the ocular company is going to come and sell that data. The problem is the very first thing was just a thought, and it wasn't proven out. They didn't take it out there to say, oh, you're going to go to see the sunset. So they're already down here, yet their first assumption was never proven. And therefore, the whole world lives in this whole world they made up, Obamacare. And no one really knows how it pays off at the back. I'm just saying, the intellectuals dreamed it up. They made the whole thing. They forced it on everyone, and then they didn't realize that people weren't voluntarily going to do it. So suddenly, everything down the line doesn't work, and the end of it is you kids have to pay for the old people's stuff. And when you guys realize it, you're like, F that. Thank you. Because I say you kids because I'm assuming you're a lot younger than me.
And let me take what you've emphasized and, repackage it in a way that helps us sell our company even better. Life is much more organized chaos than it is like a step-by-step procedure that is predictable.
Every step has different decisions that can be made and different variables along the way. If you're sailing a ship, you set to the horizon. You're going to be hit by winds that blow you off course. If you don't know where that horizon is, you're not going to get there.
And so people need a quick and flexible way to take that chaos and bring some order
so you help
into it.
Order, and you give them focus and the chaos.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind. And by the way, peace of mind is what most of us are looking for in this world. Most of us. There's a lot of people who like to light up the old emotional, blow you away with drama type of shit. Isn't that what social media is?
100%.
Let me just hook that drama up to your brain, and we're going to take you downtown.
You know what I learned is that the best way to go viral on social media is to say something partially controversial, but you will get half of the people to defend you, as you'll get half of the people to want to, put you on the stake.
Also make a statement that's wrong, because people will be more happy to prove you wrong by saying, no way, it's not that, it's this. And you're like, thank you, I got the answer.
Isn't that chaotic?
If you ask for, does anyone have the answer to that? No one would answer. But if you said, damn, cats and dogs can make their own offspring, you'll have 1,000 people proving you're wrong. You're like, okay, now I understand why.
It's no surprise that Facebook is so political, because the algorithm pumps out, these
well, that's
discourse.
what they want. Yeah.
So, fun fact, James, with the things that you write down in this little app that we call Twos, there actually is also a social side, because we have a thesis that the things that you write down partially can or should be shared with the world so that other people can learn from you. How to give a great presentation, how to, make a family recipe of yours.
Mhm.
And one thing that we've built that I'm very, very proud of is at its core thematic with everything that is Twos, which is private first. So we actually have private first comments.
What private first? What does that mean?
I'll let Parker.
Again, we're going to Parker.
Yeah,
Lay it
we
out.
have
I
to,
need
a little bit, spread the love.
Nobody can see your comment until the poster approves your comment.
Okay, I get it.
And
I
the
get
same
it.
thing
So
applies with
you're not just gonna say whatever is on your mind, because it won't even be seen by
I get
anyone
it.
unless.
Well, I'll give you a depth of something that's probably going to come from your success. When you have a library of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people giving their daily patterns, thoughts, and what they do through it, you're going to be able to have the personality of the people, the goals of the people, their effectiveness, what they do, how that you will be able to be profiling different people as mass profile, like in generalizations, and know what things are going to affect them. If I'm writing, I need to make travel reservations, I will know that there'll be some sort of anxiety over money and timing and the planning thereafter. And you could see that happening ahead of time, and you can almost anticipate it. And,
Wow.
You can
see,
you want me on your staff.
Well, no,
and I'm not here just for fun. You get what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And we take that responsibility very, very seriously. Well, no, because
I take that responsibility right to the bank.
First line in our privacy policy, which has not changed since 2017, is
this stuff.
You own your data.
I know that, but don't forget, Google's first statement was, "Don't be evil."
Ultimately, the thing that is so hopeful to me is that we really do have a vision where the world's information, the world's valuable things are still accessible without being triggered or gated off or silenced or censored, where we subscribe to this. And it goes back to the data point as well. Common sense.
Common sense.
Common
sense is uncommon today in modern society.
We just want to run our company and offer a product that subscribes to common sense.
All right. So let's take a pause right here for a minute.
Great.
So Twos subscribes to common sense, which is uncommon nowadays. So I appreciate that here. Your product is really cool, and that rhymes with Twos. It's a cool product. It makes a difference. People will be able to get it. Let's take a break here for a moment. When we come back, we're going to learn where you guys came from and why this became so relevant in your life. And, here we are now. This episode of the Presentation Hell podcast is brought to you by Presentation Hell, the book. Basically, from painful presentations to better stories, if you want to be a good storyteller and have people retell your stories, this is the book for you. We're here with Twos founders, Joe Steilberg and Parker Klein. They are a member of Embark Collective. They are a company here that's launching through the roof, and this is where billionaires are made. Welcome back, guys.
Wow. I'm still a little floored by the fact that we're on the track to a B.
Yeah, you are, without a question.
Now, a big B.
So let's teach the audience how do you get on this track? Where does it bring it? Where did you come from? Where did you go to school? You told me about, mom leaving you stranded. Not just him, by the way. And tell us a little bit, and we'll go through both of y'all so that we'll find out where you came together to make this product that's changing the planet.
Yeah. Story starts with Parker.
Parker, lay it out.
I grew up in San Diego, California. I went to school at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. I studied computer science there, so I started dabbling with programming.
Wozniak.
And I started building Twos wall during my senior year. I built it my senior year and launched the first version of it.
Was it like a project in school, or was it just something you did in your dorm?
No, it's something I did in my dorm.
All right.
But it was built on the foundation of writing things down. I had suffered from depression my freshman year at Vanderbilt, and spent a lot of time writing in Google Docs, kind of making myself feel better, releasing some thoughts. Eventually you come out feeling better.
Stop for a second. You hear that? Depression, it can help you by getting your thoughts out on paper, paper and digits, whatever. By doing that, made you feel better. Because you felt better, and I'm leading him here, this is what led to writing stuff down, and it's part of the foundation for it.
Right.
Okay, keep going. Sorry, don't let me get ahead of you. It's your story, not mine.
You're doing great. Yes, writing things down made me feel better, and I wanted to write more and more things down. I had a mentor at Qualcomm. I'd interned at Qualcomm before my senior year, and that's where I actually started.
So he got very good grades and got picked up by a top tier company thereafter. Go ahead.
I love the translation.
In his hometown as well.
In his hometown, conveniently in San Diego. Not bad.
It's amazing.
I didn't have to live at home with my parents.
And by the way, this is when Qualcomm was the NVIDIA of the company. It was blowing up because of, what was their product? All the cell phone chips. Qualcomm did the cell phone chips. Snapdragon. Yep. That's that. By the way, Snapdragon is the speech to text. Is that right?
I think it's just the
chip. Yeah. The chip. It's the chip name. Okay. All right. But it's a chip that was sold that made them hundreds of billions of dollars.
Before Apple started poaching all of their engineers to build their own chips. Yeah. That's where the Apple
that's why NVIDIA is the next one to take their place right now. That's the chips powering AI. Okay. So go ahead. Just a little tech analogy.
This chip talk is making me hungry.
And I had a mentor there who recommended that I write things down in order to remember them for future job interviews and things like that. So
in order to remember him, so remember them so you can do a better job for him.
Yeah.
We're all personally motivated. Oh, you're going to be good for everyone else, but write that shit down so you don't miss anything when you're working for me. Go ahead.
And I was writing all these things down. I was writing down my goals. I was writing in Google Docs. And I realized that all of this stuff is very private. And I was sitting at a San Diego Padres game with my dad. And I was realizing that all of these things that I care so much about, that I take the time to write them down, my dad has no idea about like 90% of this stuff. And I thought, how cool would it be to have a platform where you just write things down, and then each one of those things you can choose to share it or not. So everything's private first, but then I can share a goal, or I can share a thought, or I can share something that I accomplished, or I could share a list of books.
It's almost like talking to someone.
Right. In a more asynchronous, simple way.
For an introvert's talking to someone platform.
Okay. Yeah. That's an introvert's talking to someone platform. Okay, go ahead.
Honestly, that's pretty
good. So that was the idea for twos. Half private, half social, write things down. So you can remember more of the things about your life, and you are writing more things down. I went on to work at Qualcomm after I graduated. I worked at
Have you met this guy yet?
No.
Okay.
I worked at a startup called Trustwork. I had written down my goals. One of them was to get a job at a startup. And that's where I met Joe.
And your choice was between Masterclass or Trustwork, right? No,
Google or Masterclass.
Google or Masterclass. But what about what?
I turned down my job at Google early on.
Same
too.
They didn't offer me enough hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No, I'm teasing.
I never turned down a job at Google.
All right. So here.
Well, hold on, really quickly. What did you decide between? It was Trustwork or something else, right? Qualcomm. Yeah. Qualcomm. So chose to leave a well-established company for the startup life based on something that he had written down. Okay. I want to work at a startup. Little did he know he met
every good business. Now he's going to go, and we're going to get to the point you meet, and then we'll go from there. But if you want to do something, you think about it. If you don't write it down, you won't go any further. After you think about it, you write it down.
Richard Branson has a quote that says, write your ideas down because they'll leave your head before you leave the room.
Yeah, without a question. Once you write them down, now you can see the legitimacy of it. Once you got the legitimacy, you can build a plan around it. Once you build a plan around it, you might convince someone else that it's worthwhile and it's worth actually working on. Once you start working on it, you start convincing more people. And if you do more on that, you might actually get to a point where people go, wow, that's cool. And when someone says it's cool, then you have a hobby.
Do you want a job?
And I already have too many. And then when you have a hobby, that's great. We can all have hobbies. I write code, I take pictures, but then you have to get someone to reach in their pocket and give you money. The moment that happens, that's the moment you have a business.
Okay.
So that's why twos is the seed for you to take care of yourself and being financially independent.
The precipice. It really is.
Okay. Give us the birth. Where'd you come from? Well, we're done with him till you catch up with him.
So very similar to Parker, I was also going through my own battles with life when I had first graduated from college, where I have suffered with ADHD for probably the better part of 20 years now. Well, I guess 28, but I was
And you're
diagnosed.
28.
I am 28. So I was diagnosed when I was like 9, though. They were pretty quick to.
And how fast did they get Ritalin in your
throw
system?
stimulants down the gullet?
Fuck
Exactly.
Yeah, that whole disease was designed specifically for pharmaceutical companies.
I mean,
to
absolutely.
prescribe.
They didn't know how to restrain me, so they just threw some expensive pills down my throat.
Did you ever think that if you sat down in your childhood and watched 25,000 30-second commercials with 90 images in each one, that you might be actually programmed not to be able to sit for 2 hours on one subject?
I brought every light up Skechers shoe and Floam that I could possibly get my hands on based on those commercials.
Yeah.
So trust me. Yes.
No, I know, I get it.
What about the high fructose corn syrup? What about the kids' cuisine? What about Oreos? What about all of that stuff? But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
This is the whole point. We're doing things. What do they call it? Conditioning. You're being conditioned to go through 60 images in 20 seconds. How are they going to sit? How are you going to be expected to sit down and read Huckleberry Finn and actually understand it? And then they judge you that you can't read Huckleberry Finn, so now I can prescribe you with drugs.
Exactly.
$300
monthly drugs.
Oh, you know how that's you take it $300 monthly. You take one doctor doing that for 10 kids a day. Do that for 5 days a week. That's 15 grand a week. That's 60 grand a month. Next month it's a book of business, 120 grand. The next month after that it's 180 grand a month. You tell me where this money's being made and these kids are being fed into this mill.
You know, it's something I wrote down recently that kind of shocked me. Mm-hmm. Someone told me that the prescription ads that you see on television for, I guess Ozempic or there's so many bad ones, right? That's actually more for the prescribing doctors than it is for the patients themselves.
Why?
It's intended to, because the prescribing doctors are having these reps come into their office every single day, offering them free food, offering them discounts, offering them samples. And then they see, you always see it. It's always like Soylent. And then it uses
Soylent and green.
And it uses the, chemical name compound below it. And it tells you about all the side effects that aren't that bad. And look at how happy these patients are. It's all supposed to be an indoctrination.
Yes, 100%. What do you think the word programming means? Television program. I want to tell the vision through a program.
I don't like that.
You're being programmed with the thoughts that are coming through the television. It's written right there in the language. It's right there, right in front of it. It's, I'm just saying it goes through it. And I also want to point out is watch a news broadcast. Count the number of pharmaceutical ads. If there's 80%, who do you think owns the words coming out of those newscasters' mouth? Who makes their payroll?
Dang.
Think of what happened during COVID. Count them today. Can you trust someone who's making their income off of drugging you? I'm just saying, people should be able to think about this and understand what's coming down.
And obviously we're running on a tear here, but I love it. No, I love it. This is what I live for. How about the fact that the CDC now is reversing all of these rules that we were programmed to believe were the most important things for us to be doing, between masks and 6 feet distances and isolation? And now they're like, never mind. It's just kind of like,
it's about control. And I hope the people listening know they were outright lied to their face over and over again by people who gained credibility by it. And most of them made a lot of money.
And I'm not
a lot of money.
I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm just a connect the dots guy.
Yeah.
It's very convenient that all of these industries made hundreds of millions of dollars off of these sudden changes in behavior that were being pushed down our throats every minute of every day while we were watching TV. And, here we are.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I think, it was misled during that process. I don't really like the way it goes, but let's pause and go back. Who the hell are you? Bring it back.
Great transition. So ADHD was something that plagued my life.
Plagued all of our lives, apparently. We just, you see how we just went ADHD on everyone? We proved the freaking case.
And so I called my dad and I emphasized, hey, I feel like my brain is running a mile a minute. I've got no idea how to, get promoted or take control. And he emphasized, I need you to buy a really good notebook and a good pen and start writing things down. And I remember vividly, like, kind of questioning his advice. I was so confused by it because I was like, I've been writing things down for my entire life. I've written essays, I filled out forms, I have an agenda. But he was like, no, with no structure, with no, expectation for what you write, just start capturing more of your life. And next thing you knew, I was writing down to-dos and people's names and stand-up jokes and thoughts and ideas. And it made me feel calm. It made me be able to plan and take control and get organized. And next thing you knew, Parker and I had just become friends from the startup. We are the precipice of the yin and the yang. I am this.
Before we go into that, I want to make a comment on what you just said.
Please.
By writing stuff down and getting it out allowed you to remove the internal anxiety going on in your brain.
Absolutely.
Which allowed you to properly engage in society.
Exactly. It
allowed
me. So
that's really the core of what you want. You're relieving anxiety. You're going to put pharmaceutical companies out of business.
Relieving anxiety and
providing structure. We relieve anxiety, provide structure by giving you the things you have to do.
Well, and while obviously a lot of what we can rotate around comes back to this perfect sales pitch for twos, but you are actually
do the pitch.
Well, no, you're saying no, it's happening because I'm trying to emphasize this is not fabricated. This is real. Isn't. So we are simply trying to bring individuality back to society by giving people the quickest, easiest place to express themselves.
Okay,
let's go.
Twos represents the principle of individuality, and you can be yourself by using this product. You can know yourself better, and you can remove anxiety in your life and actually become a better person in society. We love twos. Did I just do your pitch to end the show?
We're going to clip that and use it as our ad.
It is the ad.
All right, Joe Steilberg and Parker Klein, thank you for coming on Presentation Health here today. We're podcasting from Embark Studios in Tampa, Florida. I have a couple of Embark Studio companies, and we're future billionaires.
There you go.